The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Tony D'Angelo's PM Coast to Coast. Now, here's your host, Tony D'Angelo.
And a very good afternoon to you wherever you may be, and to all the stations up and down the coast of the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network. I am your host, Tony D'Angelo, and man, what a beautiful day in New England. I mean, I can't believe it. It is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. We might get 15 or 20 of these days a year of this particular character. No humidity, beautiful, a little bit of breeze blowing. And we're supposed to get rain tomorrow, but, you know, this is what Mark Twain said about New England. If you don't like the weather, you just simply wait a while. But I can only imagine when I look at a beautiful day like this, if you're a baseball Cubs fan, for all the years this team was not competitive or didn't win or became very frustrating, like in 1969 when it looked like they were going to win and they didn't. You had Ernie Banks, who was a mainstay of that team for so many years, who would always say, "It's a beautiful day for a ball game, let's play two." Well, this is a beautiful day for a ball game, and a beautiful day for an interview, and a beautiful day with whatever you want to do. So make sure you get out and enjoy it if you're on the East Coast, and spend some time with those you love. Believe me, tomorrow's not promised to you, so let's grab today. Today I've got a beautiful guest, a lovely lady. Her name Denise Pence, actress, singer, dancer, total and complete personality, former soap opera actress, just a darn nice lady, productive to this day doing theater, and just someone I love talking to and can tell you really the ups and the downs and the all-arounds of being one working in the entertainment industry and what life can be like. And Denise had a job for many years working in a law firm. Kind of shows you, how this particular business can be. Maybe quite fickle at times, but Denise has kept on through it, and to this day continues to do some marvelous work. So with that, I'd like for you to sit back, have a little fun, fire up a Colorfina if you're a Tom Snyder fan, and I've got a lovely lady for you. I'm stealing this theme. This is the dating game theme, if for those of you who may recognize it. And I love it. I still play it. Anyway, it befits a lovely lady, Denise Pence. We're going to be right back with her, as Jim Lang would say, right after this.
This is Space Patroller Jack Norris, and I got you covered with a cosmic smoke gun. Okay, gang, drop your dukes. I'm only kidding. Don't reach for the sky. Reach for Rice Chex and Wheat Chex, because they're the breakfast cereals you gotta buy to get a cosmic smoke gun like this for your very own. And boy, is this gun ever different. Watch her in action. That's a puff of cosmic smoke, gang. Yes, there's nothing old-fashioned about this gun, not with cosmic smoke shooting out of it like this. Say, remember how this gun got the commander out of a jam not long ago? You bet. This gun does things that an old-fashioned gun could never do. That's why it's so much fun to have a cosmic smoke gun when you're playing Space Patrol. Now, take a closer look at the Space Patrol cosmic smoke gun. Like the way it nestles in my hand? Well, it'll fit nice and easy in your hand, too. And man, is it ever built. It's made of real hard plastic and made real good. The color? Rocket Fire Red. Now, your gun comes to you loaded, and with it, you get this. A bag of reloading powder, enough to last you a long time. And tell Mom this, the powder is guaranteed harmless. Now, to get a gun, get a box of bite-sized Rice Chex or Wheat Chex, the new shredded Ralston. Along with your name and address, send 25 cents in coin and a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top to Cosmic Smoke Gun, Box 812, St. Louis, Missouri. I repeat, send 25 cents in coin and a Rice Chex or Wheat Chex box top to Cosmic Smoke Gun, Box 812, St. Louis, Missouri. This offer good only in continental United States and may be withdrawn at any time.
Ladies and gentlemen, along the Comfortably Zoned Radio Network, I am honored to be joined today by the lovely Denise Pence. Denise is an actress, singer, dancer, has done all kinds of entertainment. She has done the Over 40 Women's in Arts Media Coalition. She's a great lady. She's a lot of fun. She's been on a soap opera even for 8 years. 8 years, count them, doing The Guiding Light. And it's always a fun trip with Denise, and I'm so happy to have her. How are you, my dear?
I'm more excellent than I've ever been in my life, Tony. Thank you so much. I'm very honored to be here.
Oh, I am too.
I think it's great that you still have an interest in where I'm going. This national name with Guiding Light seems to have circles that just keep coming back.
Well, you know, it's like one of our very good friends, my own personal good friend and very good friends of the show, is the actor Michael Dante from Stamford, Connecticut. And for that 5 minutes he did in Star Trek in 1966, that has been a, tell me, I'm going to another Star Trek convention.
I love my Guiding Light Circle, especially on Twitter. Twitter's amazing to me. It opens up these doors to people that they actually remember, and I keep saying, you must have been in the cradle. I can't imagine you can remember this, my character. But they do. They're wonderful fanatic fans, and I love them all. I really do. I have not gotten onto national television since then. I don't know why. I was discussing with Michael O'Leary, who is also a Guiding Light peer. He got a new play out there that's in Maryland, I think, at this point. And both of us were discussing, why these talented soap people are not showing up on primetime. I don't know why. I don't know the answer. I'm doing my business as an independent theater actress. I don't have an agent, which would help a lot.
Understand.
Many agents in my youth, but when you start hitting 40, they are not so happy. And I do think it's a female thing in the business. It's like you hit a certain age and you go into a black hole. I thank God for social media, because when they let me off a Guiding Light, I did go into a black hole. There was no social media. But now, oh my God, I feel like all these people at least know what I'm doing. And like right now, I just put to bed a 105th anniversary celebration for the Rehearsal Club women. I've been their chair for the last 5 years, and we've done some pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, tell us about the Rehearsal Club. I mean, this has been an endeavor of yours. It's something on your heart and mind, and the work you're doing is terrific.
It is mainly because I didn't understand the value of it when I was there. It's kind of like Guiding Light. I mean, I ended up on Guiding Light. I didn't know. It changed my life, and I didn't know it was going to, right? The Rehearsal Club was, I came out of North Carolina School of the Arts. Someone at the school knew about the Rehearsal Club and said, if you can get a place there, you can go study at the Graham School for 6 weeks and then come back to college. I went, okay. So I sent a letter to Mrs. Clayton, who was the house mother, and I said, and this is how we got our first song written. I said, I'm a really good girl. I don't even have a traffic ticket. and I got a cot in the Rehearsal Club, which was a girls' residence for theater women, located on 53rd Street, 6th Avenue, prime real estate, owned by the Rockefellers, who had gifted the city of New York this building.
Wow.
Double brownstone. Yeah, it was fabulous. And Carol Burnett is a huge proponent of the Rehearsal Club and what happened to her while she was there, because she was one of the women that she created. You know how you go to find an agent and they said, when you're in something, let us know. So she created something with all of the girls at the Rehearsal Club, and most of those women ended up going on to either finding an agent, doing a soap. Carol went on to the Carol Burnett show. Amazing stuff came out of the Rehearsal Club. For me, I came in, I was here 2 weeks. I picked up backstage. I went to an open call for a Broadway show, not expecting to get the job, but all my friends got cut. I had to come back the next day to sing. Now, I I'd never sung in my life. And I go back to the rehearsal club freaking out, as you can well know, right? This is like totally green girl.
Oh, I know. No, absolutely no pressure on you. I get it totally.
Yeah, well, it was fun. Everything I do, I go at it as a fun thing. It's going to be an adventure. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's see what happens. So I did the call at for the Rothschilds the same way, but now I'm like under pressure, and I'm going, oh, what the? So I go back to the rehearsal club, and the women of the rehearsal club were so fabulous. I don't even know I didn't know them at the time. One of the girls out of nowhere said, let's go to the piano, and they had a rehearsal piano downstairs. She could play the piano. She had a lot of songs. She said, okay, what do you kind of know? And we ended up picking a song that I took back to the audition, and I remember forgetting the words halfway through and just trying to, hide among 250 other women. And that story is actually in our book. We've collected like 30 writers from the rehearsal club who have told their early memoirs. So I went into detail about that whole event, but it was a very life-affirming, changing experience. And I ended up meeting my husband of the last 40-something years.
It's great.
Still married, 2 children. So when this girl came to me in 2006, I had just met her, and she said, did you ever live there? And I was like, oh, my God, I never thought of that place. I was there a very short time, never really learned the girls' names, never knew who they were, saw them at auditions, and was kind of like, where do I know her from? That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, not so short, I realized my whole life was stemmed from my going to the rehearsal club and that girl helping me. And to this day, when Kathy Connery brought those women together for tea, we didn't know what was going to happen. And then we kind of organized formally, and we got bylaws, and we put up a website, and we started creating together. And so now we have a musical we've inspired. It's called Good Girls Only. That title song was taken from my little story about being a good girl. No traffic tickets. Anyway, the musical's done. The music is fabulous. The book still needs work. This big 105th anniversary that we did raised funds for the documentary. And I'm telling you, the stars that came out, if you go to our rehearsalclubnyc.com, you can read about the women who, Kim Cattrall, and she gave us a white mink from Samantha in Sex and the City. She was phenomenal. And I met her on Twitter. I swear to God. She's one of our girls. She's one of our rehearsal club women. And Carol Burnett gave us Bob Mackie jacket, and some of the stars, Cheetah Rivera and Anita Gillette, and Blythe Danner. Oh, my God, Blythe Danner. I wore her Diane von Furstenberg. I felt like I had her mojo on me. She's so fabulous.
It's so amazing, and I can approach what you're saying here 10 different ways, hoping that God gives me the grace to approach it the best way I possibly can. And I'm going to imagine that as a girl growing up and, through your school years and your formative years, that theater and acting was something that really bit you. And if we can accept that as a correct premise, lately we've been doing some reorganization with the business and the practice. I've had some people go, and I've had to replace them, and I've had a number of young ladies come in to interview. And what amazes me, and not in a good way, was the lack of, shall we say, poise, self-confidence, self-assurance, being aware of one's surrounding. And I thought to myself, and I said, darn it, these kids really should have been around the theater, because it would have taught them that.
Being in the moment. Yeah, it's a big deal. I think there's a spiritual thing, too, about being in the moment. And it's something you have to know in your heart, Your past is one thing, your future is another you can't control. Being in the moment is something so precious. And people people are dying. Oh my God, there's so many people dying of cancer. And when I think about it, I mean, my executive producer on Guiding Light, who I feel was formative in my career at Guiding Light, Alan Potter. He was a gentle older man who felt like a father figure. He watched my character grow, you know. He nurtured my character. He died of cancer, and I wasn't there. You know, he retired. My boss at the law firm, Patterson, Belknap, Webb and Tyler.
Yes.
Oh my God, he was a taskmaster. He worked me really hard. He was like a big bear, but underneath I knew he was a good man and a koala bear. You know what I mean? And when he got diagnosed with cancer, it was in 2006, and all of a sudden his whole psyche changed. He was much more present as a person. It was very interesting. His business, the law, all of that they do in a law firm, the pressure that they're under, they're always, you know, they're on a treadmill and they're running and they're the courts and the deadlines and the this and the that and all these people suing people, and oh my God, the karma is just crazy. And
oh yeah,
people would come to my desk for relief, you know, for a moment of humor and lightness. And my boss, you know, under all that pressure for all those years, got cancer. And that last final year, when he knew he was going to die, he was an amazingly different man. And I think there's a lot of our peers who died of AIDS that, you know, we lost at a very young age. And so Steve and I are very conscious of the people around us, you know, the karmic energy of our home, which I want to keep in harmony at all times. You know, that kind of lifestyle. I get more and more spiritual as I'm really. I'll close the door on any kind of energy vampires, is what I call them.
Oh, I know, and the thing is, I mean, it's and I go through because I worked with you guys for years, a few years back, and I mean the level of care and perfectionism and the demand of having to be there and to answer the bell. I mean, it's a great professional experience, but yeah, man, it beats the heck out of you.
There's karmic energy on each one of the series I hear also. I always loved CBS because I think their whole thing was, I mean, Guiding Light was considered the old person's show because, you know, it was a good show. It was like a Procter & Gamble and CBS. They were conservative. They weren't racy like ABC shows,
right?
You know, so there's a certain energy about these different shows. I'm shocked to this day that I haven't been brought in on some CBS something, but you know, I have no control over that. I mean, they know where I am. They're not reaching out.
Hey, we're doing our best here for you. No, that's absolutely true. I get the same feeling a lot of times. I'm here if you need me, man. If not, I got a lot to do.
Unemployed actor knocking on the door, you know, I really do. My whole thing is just to put out the skill and the talent, and hopefully somebody sees it and will move it forward, which is always what's happened on Guiding Light. It happened at the law firm. I came in as a temp. I ended up as a partner secretary. You know, it's what you see. It's where, you know, I'm putting my thing out there on so many different levels. I just applied for a corporate job. It's a speaker, special events something, and they needed someone to be able to speak on behalf of the company. I won't say the name of the company.
Of course not. Yeah.
And I don't know if my submission went into a black hole. I don't know. So it's really kind of, I don't apply for those kinds of jobs unless I really feel like it's touching something that I could get passionate about. So, you know, there's such a balance, you know.
Well, yeah, and I'm back to the thing, like, you know, you call it being in the moment, and I call it just the grace and the balance and the caring of oneself. We were chatting before we were on the air, like, you know, way back when, you know, in the words of Crandon, way back when. My dad worked on Broadway, and his brothers, you know, worked the stage, and he worked the stage, and later on he ran movies when, you know, I was like in high school, and you know, he more or less had kind of given that up. and or it gave up on him, whatever way you want to put it. And one day it was a very cold day, like I think it might have been like 1962 and snowy, and the train wasn't running, and the phone rang in the house, and my mother picked it up and went to, it was a woman asking for my father, which kind of made my mother like, okay, well, who's calling for my father? And it's like, well, this is Bambi Lynn from the show. And I said, well, okay, I'll get him. And my father came, and they spoke for a moment. And he said, okay, they're going to do the matinee. The show must go on. I will, we lived in Stamford in the Bull's Head section, and Bambi lived in Old Greenwich. I will pick you up at whatever time it was, and, we'll go down together. So my mother says, well, what about Anthony, who was me being small? So, take him to the show. Well, anyway, it had to be one of the most fun experiences of my life, because Bambi Lynn, as I understand it, was a very popular dancer on early television in the 50s who made her way to Broadway. As a matter of fact, I think she was dancing in that Broadway production of Irma la Douce. I'm not positive of that. I got to look that up. But, and I'll tell you, as a 6-year-old kid sitting with this lovely, elegant lady who is so kind and so gracious and made a fuss over me, I thought, there is such a character at that early age to whatever you want to call it. Theater women who understand the grace of carrying oneself in the best possible light. I just wanted to say that.
She should change her name. She sounds like a stripper.
I think she might still be alive. Sorry, Miss Lynn, if you're listening, I love you, but anyway.
She sounds like... Oh, gosh, Tony, I'm sorry. Someone's going to try and call him in for me. Oh, it's Pro Image?
Okay. If you want, I'll pause. You handle it, and we'll come back.
I may lose you. I can't do that because my phone doesn't do call waiting very well.
Okay.
This is the original guy, so let's just wait until they go away.
Okay.
Maybe I can.
You tell me when.
Okay. It looks like it's going to be quiet, so.
Good.
I just ignored them.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that because this is a fascination for me at an early age, and I find that like activities where young ladies are out in the public dealing with people, I just ran into so many, and I think it's nice to be, be a wallflower and be quiet, and those are wonderful characteristics, but I'm just not seeing a lot of poise and balance in young people, and frankly, it concerns me.
Well, I got to say, I got 2 daughters that are about as well poised as that.
Well, I'm sure of that.
Well, but both of them are in sales, would you believe? I had no idea. My daughter, Jolyn, the oldest one, who just gave me a grandchild, grandma, she works at Equinox, and I watched her. She was in the business. She graduated Circle in the Square for theater. She was hustling in the city. She booked Law and Order. She booked Sopranos. And then she decided she's better suited in California because apparently, she had New York moxie. She could do theater, but she seemed to be booking television, and all of that was out in California. So she wanted to go to California. So I set her up in California with all my friends, my Pippin. A lot of my Pippin friends were out there, and they all adopted her into
sweet.
Watching over. But she basically self-imploded with the way the business is run out there. And she saw all her friends, buddying up to the directors, to the producers, to the this. And she says, Mom, you didn't teach me that. And I said, no, it should be a part of the business. This whole Me Too movement that's going down. And anyway, she self-imploded. She came back. She dumped everything in the business. And she started working at the local gym. And don't you know, within 2 weeks, she was running the place. And then she ended up over at one of the biggest gyms in the city, which was Equinox. And she became the highest female sales nationally. Not just in New York, but nationally. And then she gets married to this fabulous Yale grad, and they moved to Norwalk, Connecticut, and she's now at the new Equinox. And she's just happy as anything. And she's so good at what she does because she's outgoing and personable, and she's always trying to help the other person. which is so hysterical to me, because that's the key to sales, is if you care about the other person. So she's always been into health and fitness, and there she is helping, people do what she does. And and so then my younger daughter decides that she wants to try sales because Jolen's booking, she's in the six figures making mega bucks. And so my younger daughter decides she's going to try sales. And so she's selling cars, would you believe? She's been renting this Mazda, leasing a Mazda, and she ended up working for them out in Danbury by her home. And she, too, is racking it up on Facebook. She's going, I made another couple happy.
Well, but you hit so many things there, Denise, because it's the kind of thing that to sell someone something, you raise the very important point that you've got to reach into them and find out, how do I meet your need and what best meets your need? And if I can't meet your need, let me send you to where your need could be met, because you'll think of me the next time. And it's this whole thing of sell. And that is just such a turnoff to me.
They teach actors to do that when you go into an audition. It's not about you, it's about what you can help the casting people solve.
Yes.
The problem they've got that you can solve. And it's fascinating psychology behind it all. I just kind of approached life as a fun game. I didn't know where any of this life would go. Coming to New York, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have fear. I had adventure in my head, and I think that's what brought all the rehearsal club women to New York. Most of them knew nobody. Nobody had money, that's for sure. The rehearsal club was supporting people like us who had nothing in our pockets but a dream. And that's kind of, I wish it was still around. I think most of us are doing what we're doing because we do wish we could inspire someone to recreate that brownstone of, it's not a big place. It was a small place. It had a very tight-knit community. So I don't know where it'll go. We're trying to do some big stuff that, one of the things, MoMA won't even talk to us. MoMA owns our site where the building used to belong, and they're building a second wing. And I hear they're going to have a theater space in there. So what we're trying to do is just get the rehearsal club names somehow commemorated, a plaque.
Sure.
Name the theater, the rehearsal club theater. I don't care. Whatever little thing you can do to keep the memory alive of what the rehearsal club was at that site. They're rejecting any of my, notes, letters. I'm trying to go through the city of New York. I don't know. It's so big, and we're basically little.
Yeah, you're a bunch of nice women that want to do a very nice thing for the benefit of all.
Unemployed actors to a large extent, we have a network of influential people, but, life just gave us a beautiful gift of money that we're targeting to pay for the plaque or whatever else we have to pay for to get that name up there. So she's done that, and it's kind of sitting in our bank waiting to be distributed, but we don't know, nobody will open the door yet. So maybe your program, maybe somebody out there.
Hey, listen, it's like it only takes one, and it's the kind of thing where good things can come from very, very modest beginnings. But a couple of weeks ago, I had and this is something where, my actor friend Michael Dante had kindly made the introduction to James B. Harris of Harris and Kubrick. Nicest, most unassuming, most talk your ear off guy in the world, totally modest, totally does not forget his roots growing up in New York. And he said, if you think like, you and I will sit there and pound our heads against the wall, here's the man that did Lolita, and he said, I'm still typing out screenplays because somebody after a while is going to get it.
It's true. The guy that wrote our musical, he's got a trunkload of theater stuff. I actually think this musical could be his first ticket to get to Broadway, but I think he needs help. and I'm not sure if he has the head collaborate. I just had lunch, would you believe? Wow, this is another circle that came to me. The writer from my first show, The Rothschilds, his name is Sherman Helen. Oh, shoot, don't tell me, I can't remember his name. Sherman Yellen.
Mm-hmm.
Sherman Yellen. He wrote The Rothschilds. So he's an elderly man right now, and we ended up going to a Rothschilds reunion with all the brothers, Chris Sarandon, Timothy Jerome, and he showed up, Sherman. So I started, I friended him on Facebook, and I'm starting to read his blog, which he is brilliant. This man is such a brilliant writer, and that's how he communicates, I think, with the outside world, because he's kind of stuck at home with his wife,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These things start happening, but he is sharing such brilliance through Facebook. I love social media. So I ended up having lunch with him the other day. He handed me his book of plays. I'd love to try and get one of his plays up. I don't know how, but I'm going to try. And he's got another book out there on his childhood that he gifted us, the 2 books. So I've got a lot of reading to do now. It's all good. Circles come together, and you never know where the writing. I mean, maybe he'll collaborate with my Good Girls Only writer. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It sure would.
Maybe we'd have a show coming to Broadway one day.
Well, and the thing is, it's like I tell people, it's life. Life is very much like a baseball game. You come to the plate 4 times a day. Make your next at bat greater than your previous one, and sooner or later you're going to get there. And I wanted to, and just to catch the moment here with that, we were talking briefly about, or at least you had mentioned the Me Too movement. I'm going to come out on record and say right now, it is wrong to abuse anybody for any purpose. Let us be very clear about that. But my thought in this is where people have been hurt and traumatized and whatever. I think you get and this is me talking to myself. I think you get a whole lot better and farther along by going out and doing something positively and creatively to get your mind moving forward, rather than constantly thinking about what happened to you, because at least the folks I know, you never get off of that.
It's true. It's called letting go and let God. It's really, it's not something you can dwell on if you have no control over a situation. As far as the Me Too movement, I've had my experiences.
I'm sure.
I continually see where I play into or not. Like, I draw the line. I mean, it even happened at the law firm, which, the law firm has got a lot of, you could sue in a second, because there's plenty of attorneys there. But what happened with my boss and why we had such a great relationship, I don't know if he was testing me or what, but he would, he'd say something to me, and I was like, I like funny, I don't like dirty. And he never did it again. And, it's like we contribute to what happens to us. I was talking about the Clinton thing with that young girl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm devastated that her life went into nothingness, because it's part her fault, but when you think about it, I remember somebody talking about her, and she says, you don't get to be an intern at the White House without being pretty damn talented and smart.
Oh, sure.
You're in the first place.
Then
you're dealing with the power figure of someone like Clinton, who is the president of the friggin' United States, and you want to give him honor to a large extent. And I grant she could have drawn that line, and she didn't. But I understand where she was, because in a very minor way, I was doing the same thing as a secretary to a partner in a firm who held the keys to my having a job. And that's, it's a delicate situation, but it does take 2 to tango.
My mother would have that exact same thing, and she would always say, when there's smoke, there's fire. I find your parents to get wiser by the day as I get older.
Yeah, my mom had many, many little platitudes like that, and I used to always say, you know, my mom was right, because there's times in my life when I've gone through such negative things from a political level that I could not control, and the only thing I could control was my response to everything around me. And my mom always said, put out the good. It'll come back.
Yeah,
Put out
yeah.
the good. It'll come back.
It's the law of reaping and sowing, that's for sure.
Yeah, so, you know, that in many ways I believe her to be true. And when I go to church at Unity, I hear the same message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can only control what you put out. And if you're going to feed into negativity, you're going to get that back. And that's what happens on Twitter. You know.
Oh, sure.
I remember one post said, oh, I hate Twitter. It's so full of this and that. And I was like, that's strange. My Twitter is so much fun. I do. I have a lot of fun on Twitter. The people I connect with, the people that inspire me, you know, they always, that's who I follow. That's who I allow into my world. I don't let the others, I don't follow Trump. I'm no relationship to Pence in the White House, although my name is Pence. You know, it's
yeah.
your own choice as to what you want to create in your own world, because we create our own heaven and hell right here on Earth.
Oh, we certainly do, and believe me, I know people that have done both. I am very mindful that you have a very busy day, and you've taken time to kindly be with me today. And
for my daughter's wedding shower, yes.
Yeah, and so I am going to leave you for that, which is a much higher purpose than talking to me here in Pomfret. But please tell.
It's such a pleasure, Tony. You know, talk about being in the moment. The conversation with you moves in a very organic way, and I love that.
Well, thank you. I'm just full of completely useless information.
Well, who knows? You put out good stuff, and I hope I helped your audience. I think you air when people are driving or something, right?
Well, yeah, we get that. I get a lot of compliments from people that I've worked with in the past, and I think the good thing is, and like I've never quote in any way been any kind of an entertainer, much like you, but I do realize that if you could give somebody something that makes them happy or lightens their day or gives them a chuckle, man, that is the greatest feeling in the whole world.
It certainly is. And you've got a nice platform for being able to share the good stuff.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day, my dear. God bless you, and thanks so much for being with us.
Same back at you. Thank you for having me. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.
Bye. We were talking earlier about the dating game, and it's actually kind of curious to me. Actually, not curious, but interesting. If you look at the famous guests that were on the dating game, it's absolutely unbelievable. You go to the Wikipedia article, I'm just reading down. Karen and Richard Carpenter, Robin Gibb, Cass Elliot, Richard Dawson, Casey Kasem, Brandon Cruz, Yvonne Craig, who was Batgirl, and also Bobby Valentine was on the dating game. I believe Wes Parker was on the dating game. I do remember Bobby Valentine losing on the dating game, however. But it just goes to show you can't win them all. Anyway, it is time for the Dan Ingram Word of the Day. Today's word of the day is claustrophobia. This is what happens to you about October or November when you ran up a lot of credit card debt last year and you're thinking about you're going to do the same thing this year. Anyway, charge! Special thanks to Jim Lang, Count Basie, Jack Nars and the Cosmic Ray Gun, Dan Ingram, and the Royalettes, and ultimately our fine guest, the lovely and talented Denise Pence. We're going to be seeing you next week for another journey into wherever we go. And I'm so happy to have you here with me today. Make it a great day today, as David Hartman would say. And God bless. Thanks very much. This is Tony D'Angelo signing off on Tony D'Angelo's PM Coast to Coast.